Welcome back to another episode of Allowed to Ask, a First Rounds on Media production. I'm so excited for today's episode as I feel like it will really be so relatable to listeners. We're talking all about red flags with the fabulous Brianna McCabe, author of the book, The Red Flags I've Repeatedly Ignored. Red flags are being thrown at daters left and right, and sometimes it can be hard to get out of our own way and know who is really being intentional versus who is just playing games. Luckily, there are dating apps out there like First Rounds on Me that eliminate the games and go straight to the goal of fostering meaningful and genuine connections. Check it out in the App Store and start actually going on dates with people who I say are there for the right reasons, aka meet you in person. With that being said, Brianna, thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to officially meet you too.
You too. Thanks for having me. You guys
Of
are
course.
so cute.
Oh my God. You're gonna stay here. We can just compliment each other all day. I'm very happy about it.
Perfect.
I'm having a down day. I'm just gonna
Just
DM
call
you.
me.
I'm
It's
just-
fine. Yeah.
Tell us a little about yourself. I know
Yeah.
you just mentioned that you have a book, which I've read of it this past week, and it's literally amazing and so relatable, which I can't tell if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. It's literally called Red Flags, but tell us about yourself and really
Yeah.
how you got into this whole journey of being an author.
Yeah. So 30-year-old Jersey girl, born and raised. So full-time gig is I'm a marketing professional.
Oh.
I also am a professor, which I love.
Whoa, what
Yeah.
do you teach?
I teach public speaking this semester and intro to marketing.
Wait,
Yeah.
I want like a public speaking course. Like I think I'm good at it, but you could always improve.
You're phenomenal.
Thank
but
you.
I can definitely give you some pointers. Listen, I teach it and I still stumble and I have filler words. But anyway.
Wait,
so
what's your biggest tip of on public speaking?
The biggest one is just to honestly go in with confidence. And I always say do some deep breathing before you go in. So I'm a big advocate of box breathing where you kind of breathe in for 4, hold it for
2.
4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then breathe out. hold
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I don't know. And then just go into it being yourself and don't put on a front and it should just be A-okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then
one thing is I don't like public speaking.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was young in college, I had to take a course and they told me to focus on somebody in the audience, but I still was not comfortable.
That's
a
hard.
gift.
It's hard. I like eye contact and perusing the room because I think if you stare at one person, it can make that person in the audience feel uncomfortable. It's just a
you're
weird
like
exchange.
staring at
Yeah,
them.
a weird exchange of energy. So I just kind of like to, peruse around, walk around. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I teach and then I'm an author. So I wrote this book about 2 years ago now.
It's a hefty book. Like how long did it take you to write that?
That took me about 2 years to write
Wow.
that. Yeah, it was like a
Crazy.
COVID baby.
Were you a writer? Because it's not just like I think it's not easy just to like pick up and write a book.
Yeah, so I went to school. My undergrad's in journalism. I always loved writing.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd for it. I've been writing. My friends and my mom love notes since I was in like 5th grade.
that's
Like,
so
yeah, I'm just such a
cute.
sap, and I love the art and rhetoric of just wordplay.
I could have used you in
Yeah.
high school when I was writing essays.
I always,
Time.
yes, I would have totally helped. But yeah, so I just started writing, and essentially this was born because I was in a really unhealthy relationship that we can dive into, but.
Mhm.
I allowed this person to bring me to this place mentally where I just crumbled and I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't know how I was ever going to get out. Like it was actually really scary. My mom was like, "You need to go to therapy." It was alarming. 'Cause
Love therapy.
I wasn't myself. Yes,
Mhm.
huge advocate.
Mhm.
And so I started going to therapy. I didn't want to leave the house. I was just depleted, broken.
How old were you at this time?
I want to say like 28. So
Mhm.
it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And or maybe 27. So I went to therapy and I was in a relationship with somebody who I thought was a narcissist.
Been there.
Just mentally abusive, just made me feel so ugly, just so god awful. And
It's crazy because when you're in that too, you don't realize it's happening
Realize it.
until you're out.
you don't realize it. And
Yeah.
my friends would just be like, "What are you doing?" And
Yeah.
I'm just like, "What do you you're the crazy
It's so
one."
sad that
Yeah.
like I can relate to this. Like
It's-
I
You so want to make it work.
Yeah.
so want to make it work. Like I'll let you finish. But like I was
Yeah.
in a very toxic relationship too, and like my friends were telling me straight up. Like I remember my best friend Rachel said, like Danny, this is toxic. Like this is a really unhealthy relationship. And I just like I heard her and I like registered it, but I had to give it time for me to really figure it out on my own.
But sometimes trauma bonds are built, and it's this
Right.
crazy complex phenomenon where when you're in it, it's just there's deception and manipulation, but then there's weird injections of positive reinforcement that make you feel like, oh, maybe this person is changing, and then they rip
Right.
it right away.
Mhm.
So it was just this whole cycle that I was in, and then finally I called it quits with him,
Mm-hmm.
and my therapist was like, what is the one thing that you don't think he stripped from you? And I was like, I don't know, like everything. And she was like, okay, well, you like to write. And you always talk about writing, like just start word dumping. So I started word dumping. And I'm very close with my mom, so I would send it to my mom, and my mom was like, "This is great." And I'm like, "Of course you're gonna say that. You're my mom."
Yeah.
And she was just like, "No, Bree,
Like
this
my
is
mom's like,
really
"You look so
great."
good." I'm like, "You have to say
Yeah,
that."
you have to say that, you know? I'm in a shitty place mentally.
Yeah.
Of course you're gonna say that. You want to see me like perk up.
Yeah.
And she was like, "No, like this is really good." So I pitched
Was
it
it like
to-
your dating stories? Like what's in
yeah,
your book?
Yeah. It was basically
Wicked memory you have. That's like a lot of detail too.
I did well when writing the book. I had to talk to some of my friends. I'm like, "Is this accurate?
Yeah.
Or do you remember this?" And they were like, and then they would tell me stories. I'm like, "Oh my god, I forgot about
Yeah.
that." So yeah,
Sometimes my friends remind me of things too. I'm like, just don't keep it to
yeah,
yourself.
it's they're the best.
Yeah.
But essentially, the book was born just out of desperation and going to therapy and trying to heal all of the parts of me that attracted all of these men into my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the book is very, we just said in the bathroom, like raw. Like
Yeah.
how did you feel about making that so public?
Yeah. So it was really, really scary. So it was one thing to write the book because it was almost it was a relief. Like I felt almost liberated,
Right.
just writing all of this and facing it. And I mean, it wasn't the easiest thing. I would have
Right.
to read these chapters over and over
Yeah,
and be like,
like,
oh my
Kind of
God.
like relive the whole
Yes.
relationship. Kind
And then I had to face myself staring at this like 8.5 by 11 Word document on a
Mhm.
screen and say like, ew, Brianna, you allowed yourself to do this or you played this role. It was a really intense
Honestly, a good way to get yourself to
situation.
realize shit's
Yeah.
got to
Right.
change.
Yeah.
And you put COVID to good use. Like
I
you
did.
really like kept
True.
yourself busy and
I get
focused
antsy if
and-
I'm sitting still. So I was like, all right. And this was a beast. But yeah, putting all of so there's like sex in there and
Yeah.
there's really
No,
intense.
you get like
things.
detailed.
You very detailed. But there was 2 people that I needed to vet it. And I was like, if they say it's okay, like it's going out.
Well, I was
there.
gonna
So it
say,
was my
did
mom and
you-
my grandma.
I thought you meant like
Yeah.
vet it with the guys because you talk about a lot of
No.
guys in there. Like, did you give them a heads up? Like, by the way, like I'm writing about you, and if you see this book,
The latest ex for sure knew.
Okay.
Because it was a brainchild of mine. And in an argument, I'd be like, I'm going to write a book about you one
Yeah.
day. And
Ooh.
and I don't think he ever thought I was going to do it, but here I did.
Yeah.
But I changed
Big
everything
slay.
about all of them,
Yeah.
their names, what they look like, where they're from, because it's really not about them.
Yeah.
It's really about the experience and the role I played. So it's they're little facets of the whole story.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
No, and I love how you broke up the book in the sense where like you told the story and then you did the recap where it's like, okay, what was the red flag?
Yeah.
What should I have done? What will I do differently? And how you forgive yourself. I really appreciated that part too because it's like there are times
hard.
I've been through red flags, some like that, some not like that, and it's like when you're so in it, you
Yeah.
don't even realize what's going on. Like you know something is wrong, you know something's like off, but you can't get yourself out of it until I feel like you really remove yourself.
Correct. And it's so easy to call it out. If it was your friend going through the same situation, you as an outsider, you can be like, what are you doing?
You
But then
see
when
it
it's
so
you,
clearly.
yeah.
Even now, when I give dating
Yeah.
advice to my friends, like I think sometimes I could be a little harsh, and I always say like I'm not trying to be harsh, but just like I feel like I've been through things sometimes that sometimes my friends are going through right now or in the past, and I'm like, just don't do that. Like you shouldn't do that. I know what's happening in your partner or your ex-partner's brain. Like I don't think this is the right move. And at the end of the day, they like hear me, but I know like if they don't follow my advice, it's just because I've been in their shoes and I know they have to kind of go through the motions themselves.
Correct. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And my
Yeah.
one best friend, I'll never forget, he was like, Brie, I could have saved you from all of these stories. He's like, I literally told you from day one. He's like, this person's bad for this reason. He's like, but sometimes you just have to go on your own journey and learn.
Right.
He's like, and I'm sure you don't regret it. And I don't. I mean, I have
Yeah.
a beautiful book. I've learned so much about myself. I've gone through so much healing. So, I guess it's everybody's own journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say the same thing about my dad and my brother with my ex-boyfriend. Broke up like 7 years ago. He was cheating on me like crazy. My dad and brother were like, we told you. We did tell you that he was cheating on you. I was like, you did.
And what
But
about you, Mom?
You did, but shut up. We can't even get into
I
her.
was bad.
She's bad. Which is, it's not a bad thing. It's really cute. But like, no matter who I'm dating, she's like really invested in them, which is like
Aw.
so great. So like, she was kind of had like my goggles on in a sense where like she saw the good that I saw in him.
Gotcha.
And
Right.
so
And there were good parts of him, but he was bad. And
he was
a
bad.
boy.
And he's getting way too much airtime between this episode and the last. We got to
But
move
let
on
me
from
just
him.
tell you one thing. But I always did say, because where we grew up, like Danny had a math tutor or something, and she was hot. She was beautiful. She
Who was hot?
reading teacher, one of your teachers. And I
Oh.
always used to say that if you married him and, had kids with him, he'd be sleeping with your
Yeah, no, he would
like,
have.
he
Like,
just was bad.
Okay.
but like from the point of like you're so invested, which is so great. It's like, no, yeah, she's like was prepping me. Do you think that you like when you were dating back in the day, did you like were red flags even a thing?
Yeah, there were red flags.
Oh, okay. Give us an example. She was a party girl.
Yeah, I was a party.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can see. I can see that.
Big old slut.
My ex-fiance broke up with me. Not my husband. I was engaged before. Whatever. I was married to Dave.
Dave's my dad. Hi, Dad.
And I didn't go out for weeks and weeks. I mean, probably months. I didn't probably go out for 3 or 4 months. I went out one night, met this guy, then started dating him. And I knew he was bad. Everything about him was bad. He was like, we went to like Dominican Republic after a week.
The
we were
love
at the
bombing.
racetrack every single weekend. No, I actually dated him for like a year, but I'm sure he was cheating on me. But for me, there definitely were red flags, but I don't think I was so emotionally invested in it that I really cared if it worked or not. He was polar opposite from who I was engaged to. So I kind of found it fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Even though he was, not the best. And he actually never got married.
I love that you know that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like I noticed like when I started dating that we have very different like dating habits, like similar in the sense, well, actually no, different in the sense where like what you just said, how you were dating him and like you knew it wasn't serious, but you're just having fun. Like if I like someone like the littlest bit, I'm in. Like I'm all in. There's no like, oh, this is just fun and like we're fucking around. Like I've never had that. Like I'm thinking about every single person that like I've ever like actually genuinely liked, no matter how many dates it was. If it was 1 date, 2 date, 3 dates, like I was in. Like I was like, yep.
That's my
focusing on
problem.
you.
That 1,000%.
Is it a problem though?
Yes, I think so.
But I think when you meet the right person, they'll appreciate it and appreciate you. And I think when you meet, I don't know if you're dating now or if you're in a relationship, but it just happens and it comes naturally. And it maybe all that pain that you went through got you to where you are now.
No, I believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
So are you single or are you dating? What's your status?
Single. I was dating in the summer and earlier this year, but now I'm just in full-blown career mode again. So it's just
interesting you did it during you swapped it. Like this is usually the time I feel like where people are like, uh-oh, cold season coming, need
I don't
to.
care. I'm like, I like being cold by myself.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't need that.
Yeah, that sounds
good. Yeah.
Cold by yourself.
Yeah, it's the best. I'm like, just leave me alone.
Maybe you need this winter to write a book about green flags.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But
how do you approach dating now?
So
especially after the book.
Yeah. It's funny because I would bring this up on like date number 1. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like a published author. Because I'm just like, I'm so
that's
proud of
honestly,
it.
that's sick. That's sexy. That's cool.
But then when you tell somebody it's about the red flags I've repeatedly ignored, that could be a red flag. But
yeah, maybe you should have removed repeatedly from the title.
just one I ignored.
Yeah.
But so I approached it. I was on dating apps, but I have a love-hate relationship with dating apps. Just because I want to meet somebody authentically. I want to meet somebody in a natural environment. I would love that word of mouth referral even. Like that's how I ideally want to meet someone. But it's been fun. But I just don't have the time for it, if I'm being completely honest.
No,
but if I cross paths with someone, I'm not going to, I'll welcome it, but I can't actively put myself out there right now.
No, I totally get the whole thing with dating apps. I no longer single, but when I was single, I really liked dating apps. I think like of course I always wanted to meet someone organically. I didn't meet my boyfriend on an app. Like funny that I'm saying this, but like I always liked dating apps because I think it introduced me to people that I would have never crossed paths with.
That is cool.
I also had a stage where like I'm a Jewish girl from Westchester. Like I want to end up with a Jew. Like I probably narrowed myself at a certain point, but there was a time in my dating career, let's call it, that
it's like a job.
It's like a job. Yeah, like in my dating career that I was like, I don't want to date like anyone who like even knows my name in like the Jewish circle. Like I went to Syracuse, like you can call me a Jap. But like I didn't want to date someone in that circle. So the dating apps introduced me to guys who were like from Europe or like just like someone I would probably never even like go up to or see out. And I think it really got me to the point where I was like, okay, you know what? Like I want to go back to my roots of like dating and marrying a Jewish guy.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to immerse yourself in it. It's a cool little thing. I did meet really cool people and I don't have any bad blood with any of them.
Yeah.
But I ended up developing in my instance, like I'm a very easy conversationalist, so I would develop like emotional connections with someone digitally, which was a really weird phenomenon. And then I would meet them in person and that spark just didn't translate. So for me, I was like, I feel like I'm wasting my time here just texting somebody. So I'd rather just get that spark immediately and then
Totally.
let it go.
Right.
Well, it's a good plug for First Rounds on Me, actually, the dating app, because the way you match with someone is if I saw you on the dating app, I send you a date request. So like I'd be like, okay, you're like, okay, Danny
Ah.
sent you a date request for tomorrow at this bar, this time, when you could accept it, reject it, or suggest something new. So like
That's
before we
cute.
even talk, and you can only talk for 24 hours before the date, like you have a date planned.
Which is
Quick
good.
little plug.
Maybe I'll check that out.
Check it out.
Okay.
We'll talk about it after.
Okay.
Also, there's so many experiences in the city now. Like
That's
look,
true.
like, I mean, if you play pickleball, there's all these single dinner parties where you
Yeah.
say things you like, and then they try to match you up with someone who's sitting nearby you. And I think that's fun. I think it's a fun way
is
to meet
fun.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fun. I'll try.
They're
You
making
need to put
dating
yourself out there.
Okay.
No one's gonna
Thanks,
come
Mom.
literally
You're
mom
so beautiful
advice.
and vibrant. All
Aw.
good things.
So you mentioned in your book that you were a late bloomer when it came to like
Bloomer.
like doing like sexual things with
Mhm.
men. Do
Mhm.
you think that, or how do you think that really impacted you when it came to dating seriously? Do you think it matters like when kids, LOL, like start exploring having sex?
So I got a lot of flack for that, saying I was a
Really?
late bloomer when I lost my virginity freshman year of college. Not flack, but people would be
Yeah.
like, I lost it that same time. But it was just in comparison to what I knew and grew up around. So
No, in my high school too, I
Yeah.
feel like it was like, no, you lose your virginity before college.
yeah, everybody. Maybe I just went to a really hypersexual high school. I don't know, but it was just I felt like the outlier. So for me, how I internalized it was, I felt like I needed that to feel validated. So I so desperately yearned for like a man's touch. Like
yeah.
I just felt like I couldn't officially cross the line into womanhood until I had sex. Like
Yeah.
it was just a thing. So when I was in college and when I was partying a lot, I mean, it's very easy. Not that it wasn't
Where'd
in
you go
high
to school, if you don't mind
I
sharing?
went to Monmouth
Okay.
University, which I love in Jersey. But
You're a Jersey girl.
You should
Jersey
be
girl
a
through and through, girl.
Through and through. Took the words out of my mouth.
yes. So when I was in college and I was partying, I mean, it was really easy, but that doesn't mean that I was picking the right people. It was just kind
Right.
of like I gave a look to you in a basement party, you gave a look, and it was
And
just
then
like,
next thing
we're
you know,
going
you're
at it.
topless. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, and then I never talk to you again. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is it's crazy. So
Yeah.
for me, it definitely created this distortion of my ability to kind of think and be intentional with who I was allowing into my life, because I was just yearning for that. I just felt so like unlovable because I
Yeah.
correlated my worth to a man not
Right.
wanting to have sex with me. So I think that's how it impacted me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you view it as just, this is again my journey,
Yeah.
what's meant for me will happen. I don't think you have to put sex on such like a high pedestal. Easier said than done, especially if
Totally.
you're somebody who hasn't had sex yet. But I just think if you don't hyper focus on that and instead just focus on the connection or the
Mhm.
chemistry or whatever it is that your intention is,
Right.
that's the way to go.
Right. You put pressure on yourself.
I did.
right?
I absolutely did.
It's interesting though, because
Yeah.
like we're talking about like you going to college. Like
Yeah.
you were so young. Like, I was thinking
So young.
when I was in college too, like I wasn't thinking like intentionally with like
Yeah.
who I'm sleeping with and who I'm not. Like it's different when you're, let's say like when you're graduated from college, it's like, okay, I'm going on a date. It's actually interesting how like when you're in college, you don't really think about like or care about who you sleep with. I'm
Yeah.
speaking for the general public, I guess. But when you graduate and you start dating, it's like, okay, I'm not going to sleep with him now until the third date. Like what changed from like June when you
It's like,
graduated
I am a saint now.
to August? It's like yeah, you would go to a frat party and you'd like fuck him the same night, but then
Correct.
you graduate and 3 months later you're like, nope, 3
Yeah.
date rule. It's like
Yeah.
it's
I
crazy.
said 4.
That rule is bogus. I'm about you sleep with them whenever you want to sleep with them. Thoughts? Oh, you agree with
No.
mom?
I think I would wait. I think I would wait. So this is
I
where
think it makes
I'm
it
at.
more special when you have a.
I'm
a
anti
connection.
first date. Second date, I don't really.
I think it's just, I think it builds that just, I think it's hotter to wait. Like,
Totally.
I think it builds that connection. But I'm also coming from a place where I've been celibate for a year, like intentionally. So I don't want to just break that for
Wait.
no reason.
Like at this
Ugh,
moment.
yes, girlfriend.
Wait, Mazel Tov?
Thank you. Yeah, I just was like, I need to cleanse. Like, I need a detox. And
Okay,
it's
so
just
you're a
been good.
virgin again.
I'm basically a nun
Right.
after college.
That's
Yeah.
it. All right, so you could wait like 15 minutes into the
yeah,
yeah.
We give you
like
She's giving me a pass.
we give you approval to sleep with them on the first date whenever you're ready
Do
to
you have
date.
siblings?
I have a half brother, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's younger. So he's like 3 years younger than me.
Okay.
What's that? Is he dating anyone?
No, single.
Okay.
Mhm.
Ooh, do I know him? Is he straight?
Mhm.
Okay.
He's cute. His name is Chase. He's so cute.
Oh, I like that name.
Yeah.
Oh, loved this topic that not even a topic, like you mentioned it very briefly
Okay.
in one of your chapters, but over apologizing.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm like the queen of that and I have a story about it, but how do you think that really impacts relationships? Because I catch myself now, at least I didn't used to do it, but I would apologize for things just to avoid an argument in my past relationships.
Yeah. So I think I over apologize because I was very much a people pleaser
Mhm.
in my past. And I think again it went to I just wanted to be liked. I had this very it was desperate. I just really wanted to be liked and loved. And
Mhm.
I think it stemmed from a lot of deep-rooted issues. Like I was bullied. I don't know if you got to that part in the chapter,
Mm-mm.
but I was bullied. I mean, I grew up with like basically a single mom.
Mhm.
It wasn't the best like upbringing in
Yeah.
terms of finances. It was just it was a hard life in what I internalized, but everybody
Right.
goes through shit.
Sounds like you had nice friends so that you could still go back
The
to.
best friends,
That's
and
a
the best
win.
mom. But it was just I battled with these inner demons that made me always feel like I wasn't enough.
Mm.
So I always felt like I had to put on like a mask or a persona, and I always had to be the funny girl or the one that everybody loved to talk to, but I then struggled with, but nobody wants to date me or nobody wants to
Mhm.
like fuck me or whatever it was. So I
Mhm.
always struggled. So I would always kind of not put my full face forward and be my
Yeah.
true authentic self because I was scared of ruffling feathers and I'd be scared that you would leave. Like
Right.
I very much have abandonment wounds. So
Mhm.
I would over apologize. And I think
Yeah.
that's where it stemmed from me. I just don't think it's healthy. Like you can
Yeah.
apologize, but
It's
I was
interesting.
definitely sorry.
No, you go.
I was definitely a people pleaser too, and I
Yeah.
still
I think you
am
still are.
to a certain extent. But now I kind of find it powerful to say like no,
Yes.
because I always was
No is a
Yeah.
full sentence.
But when I was young, I had
Period.
two older brothers. My parents, it was just different. I mean, I'm 61, almost 62. My parents were good parents. It was just a different generation. I definitely, when I was young, was promiscuous because I just wanted to be loved and
yes.
to feel it. And, my parents just couldn't give me what I really needed. So it took me many, many years to figure this out. And I was always just kind of a little sad and a little angry. Right?
Wait, breaking my heart.
No, but that's why I always wanted a great relationship with you. So
Well, yeah.
I pivoted and I have a great relationship with my kids. But when, I don't think I would have done anything differently. And I grew up in like Queens and we,
Drugs.
yeah, drugs. I had two older brothers. They were huge partiers. And I wouldn't change anything. But I definitely think a lot stems from at home kind of.
1000%.
But that's interesting though, because one, like, pray for you. Sorry about that. Two, like, I had the best upbringing, but I still in relationships over apologized. Like great parents, great upbringing, like no complaints. But like when I was in these toxic relationships, I got to a point where I found myself just like kind of like beating them to it, like beating them to an argument by just apologizing about something, even though they did something insanely wrong. But I would
Yeah.
apologize for bringing it up or apologize for causing any inconvenience to whatever conversation we're having
Yeah.
because I was just like, I just didn't want to get yelled at or whatever other like mental shit that was happening then.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. It
It
was
is exhausting.
exhausting.
Yeah.
And what was the word? Deflection. Remember, like you always had them say shit to you and you were always upset, but it was really the problem was on their end.
Right.
But they were making,
This is like a
Because
dumb
they can gaslight and make
Yes.
they turn
Well,
it on you.
This is the perfect example, and I've given this one to my friends before, but it's like my college and my boyfriend in college. I had like 3 main boyfriends in my life, like the high school one, and then I had 2 in college. And the second one, he was just like definition of like classic like toxicity, just like to the point. This is the story. So
second one?
yeah, different.
Oh,
Third one
interesting.
cheater, second one just like toxic in this way, where I was like going to frat parties. I was like your classic sorority girl, and we had like a bunch of theme parties. So he'd be like, "Oh, what's your social schedule this weekend?" So like, what frats were you going to, and what nights, whatever, and what were the themes? I'd be like, "Oh, I have like A pie." Let's say I'm making it up, and he'd be like, "You love A pie, like you love those boys, like you think they're so hot. Like what are you wearing?" And I'd be like, what? I'd be like, okay. So I would have to send him pictures of my outfit.
That's
But
it, no.
yeah, but then I would always change because like, fuck that. But then I would sleep at his like dorm after. So I would like be wearing this slutty outfit, not the picture he approved. And I'd come over and he would like have a manic episode that I was in some slutty outfit. But then I'd apologize, obviously. But it's like, I shouldn't be apologizing in the first
Yeah.
place. I should wear whatever the fuck I want.
What I remember is times when he was sick and he'd be mad if you didn't stay with him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, get the hell
Why does
out
that
of there.
remind me
I'm-
of my
I'm a huge,
No. Did we
I'm-
date the same person?
We might have.
Is he a Jew from Long Island?
Yeah, I'm a huge germaphobe. I'm like, what are you doing there? You know, she's taking
Yeah.
him to urgent care. She's laying next to him. Get out of
I
there.
was such a pussy. Jesus.
Well, you know what? But everything got you
Yeah.
where you were. Like, I wish we had a crystal ball. Because trust me, I had my share of shit way back when. Like, if you just know you're gonna one day meet your person and be a great person, you'll be happy. Like, you could kind of relax and like sit back and laugh and not feel so much pain.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, power of no, ladies.
Mm.
Have you ever had a situation where moving fast in a relationship was a good thing? And I'm very interested in your answer.
Me, no.
Okay.
Not for me personally,
Yeah.
but have I seen my friends or other people, like coworkers, experience something great
Mhm.
happening quite fast? Yeah, because I think what you said, when you know
Right.
sometimes. But for me, no.
Interesting.
But sometimes fast equals fizzle.
My fast
Yes.
has only equaled fizzle.
Well, right. And not a boyfriend, but we always talked about this guy, and he certainly doesn't deserve this.
No, he
time.
can't.
I think he was the worst of everybody.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
it goes
fast
into my
and
topic
fizzle.
around like love bombing too. I think I have a
Oh.
question here that I really wanted to ask you about. Wait.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. So in your story, you talk about how guys, like one guy was like bombarding you with like so many like love cutesy messages. Like,
Mhm.
how can like let's say women or girls like know
The difference.
Like,
between
it's
it
so
being genuine. Or,
right? It's so hard.
Yeah. So love bombing, it's a really interesting kind of psychological play to hook you in really quick. So
And I think that term came around like yesterday. I think it's like a new thing.
Yeah.
Not actually
but
yesterday,
now I just
like,
feel like it's so
like-
overplayed.
yeah,
I'm
it's like
is that
day to
right?
day life.
Yeah. But essentially it's just it's grandiose gestures really quick. So you'll get an I love you within the first week of knowing, or on the first date, you're my
Yeah.
soulmate, or where have you been all my life? I mean, that's cute, but there's certain things where you're getting really expensive gifts really quick, or like you going to Dominican Republic within a week of knowing
Yeah,
someone, right?
yeah.
Like there's just,
You did crazy.
yeah, it's a ploy to like make you feel excited and kind
Yeah.
of play on your emotions of, oh my God, this is like the romantic comedy, the fantasy I've been like, I want and
Yeah.
I need and I rightfully deserve. But then they're going to use that just to hook you in and then kind of like start psychologically manipulating you.
It's interesting because we had a guest on and we were talking about love bombing, and he had such a different approach in the sense where he was like, every guy or girl, because I'm sure girls love bomb too. Haven't heard of it, but but he was like, every guy deserves to like have that feeling, that emotion happen really quickly and then get over it. And I disagreed. I was like, I hear you, but like you should be more intentional.
Yeah, but
with-
is he confusing like the honeymoon stage with love bombing? Like you
I
could
don't
be
think so.
like you could be excited about
Yeah.
dating someone as you should. Like you should want to see someone, but you shouldn't
Right.
start changing your life for this person or adapting. Like if you have plans on a Saturday and they're like, cancel it with your friends, let's hang out. I gotta see you. I love you. Like
Yeah.
that's pump the brakes. It's a little crazy.
Right.
But I think excitement is cute and you should want that, right? You
Right.
should yearn to want to see the person. But I think when it starts, it's not matching where the relationship should be at that point. That's when it's
Right.
concerning.
Mhm.
So do you think if you got into a relationship when it's moving fast, you'd be like red flag, or you'd just understand the signs more?
I think a little bit of both. For me, I think my preference is I want to take the time,
Mm-hmm.
just given my history and just given the journey I'm on and just being celibate and just being peaceful. I think I
Oh
really
my God, the lucky
want-
man that you lose
Ugh.
it to.
He's gonna be just in for
He's
it.
in for a wild ride.
Yeah.
Build up.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's
Talk
gonna be
about
so
a build
hot.
up.
I could write a book about that.
Year-long foreplay.
Yeah, but I would prefer to just take my time, and
Yeah.
I really want to get to know you. Like getting to know someone mentally turns me on more than physically, if I'm being
Mhm.
honest. So I want to know who you are, and I don't need that to move quick. Who are you? What are your values? What do you want in a life?
Yeah.
Like let's get to know one another, and then we can go from
Slow
there.
and steady.
Yeah, that's how I want to
Yeah.
do it.
I'm like currently learning that because the guy I'm dating now, like it's still very new, but he's like a slower slower moving snail than I am.
That's cute.
And I had to, no, he's the best. And I had to like separate the fact that like just because he's moving slower, it doesn't mean he does
doesn't
not
like
have these
you.
feelings.
Yeah.
So like in the beginning, I'm like, all right, I'm down to like meet your mom yesterday. Like, why don't you want to do that yet? And I just kind of had to like separate the idea, like just because someone's moving slower than you, it doesn't mean that it's a reflection of how they feel about you.
Yes.
So gross.
And that's on growth.
Look at her.
And that's on growth. Thank God for all the other red flags. So now that you've experienced so many red flags, let's say, is there like something you go through, like the way you respond? Like if you kind of face a red flag in a guy now,
Yeah.
like is there like a process you go through in your head, kind of like in your book, where it's like you channel how you want to react?
A checklist.
Yeah, do you like go through a checklist of how to respond or like
So
react?
I'll take like a mental note. I don't know if I always necessarily need to respond.
Yeah.
So for instance, like there's this one guy I went on a date with who I met online.
Mhm.
And the first red flag was that he lied about his height. And I don't really care. Like I'm not a person who
That's
really
like
care.
very common, sadly.
But why? And it was a
Yeah.
significant height difference.
No,
Maybe
you gotta
thought
give us the
wouldn't go
difference.
out with him.
He told me he was 5'8", and I want to say he was like 5'2". Like I'm not even exaggerating.
Oh,
He was short. And I was just like,
sure.
okay, but listen,
No, we love short kings. It's
yeah. And I was
fine.
just like, so that was like the first red flag. But I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? We were sitting at the bar. I'm just gonna let it kind of slide. But then there was other red flags going. Like he was
My husband always says it's all the same laying down.
honestly, that's what my
That's
guy
coming
best
from
friend
my
tells
dad
me too.
who's short.
That's
Yeah.
hysterical. What's his name? Dave?
Dave.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah.
But
He's our biggest fan.
I
He
love
listens
Dave.
to
I've
all
never
of
met him,
these.
but-
yeah.
Yeah, like I don't maybe, but I feel like you should have maybe said it because that's just
Yeah.
a weird. I'm not
That's
going to address
weird.
the elephant in the room, but it's
Right.
weird. But then there were some other red flags, like the way that he would encounter and talk to kind of the bartender. It was just
Mm.
demeaning and condescending. I just didn't like it. So I didn't necessarily say anything, but I was
Yeah.
taking kind of a
You
mental log.
register.
Yeah. And then once I went home and I got home, I thanked him for the date. And then he was like, oh, would you like to do it again? And I was like, you know what? I didn't want to ghost him. I didn't want to be a red flag, but I was just like, I felt more of a friendship vibe from
Right.
you. But like, I would love to stay in
Their
touch.
response to that message always speaks volumes about them.
I think you just gave me a thumbs up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It was just,
You had
one
it.
time I got a thumbs up before. One time I got a do you, Danny? Like, good luck with life. Like, what?
Or
we're-
didn't you also once get I was feeling the same way or something? Like somebody.
Yeah, he's my friend now. I think he was actually being honest about that because we're
Oh.
truly friends
Oh, I
now.
don't know
Yeah.
that.
A Swedish man.
Oh.
But going back to the height thing, I think lying about height on dating apps is so funny in the sense where like if you're scrolling on a dating app, let's say, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't have swiped right if, he was 5'2" or whatever it was.
Maybe.
But it's interesting in the sense where I don't think people should be so picky when it comes to height, because if you're sitting at a bar with someone and you're sitting next to a guy and you don't know what his height is yet, but you totally hit it off. Like you're not thinking about his height. You're vibing, you click, there's a spark, and you're totally into him. You get his number and he stands up and he's short. You're not going to be like, you're not my type.
Listen, there's some
You know what I
really
mean?
hot short men. Like,
Totally.
I am not opposed, and I'll wear tall shoes around you.
I
don't
love
care.
being a tall bitch.
Yeah, I honestly, it used to bother me because I'm insecure. Like
It used to bother me too, but then I
Yeah.
think we grew up.
yeah, So I don't
Yeah.
know. I just feel like why lie? Just
I
put yourself
agree.
out there. But then again, sometimes people use pictures that aren't reflective of where they really are or who they are now.
Have you had a catfish situation?
A while ago, not recently, but yeah.
I don't think I've ever
that
really
was
had a
weird.
catfish. Did you? When you were like, oh no, you can't catfish when you're blind dating.
No, right. We didn't even have
Pictures.
apps or pictures or whatever.
That's wild.
But I once had a really bad blind date, but I think I might have mentioned it once before.
I don't remember.
And I opened the door and I was like,
Oh, yeah, you told me
this
all
guy's
this.
not for me.
And you called your friend to come.
And I
or
called my
something?
friend to meet me at the restaurant. So then she
Really?
made believe she was getting stood up. So we all had dinner together.
The fact that you guys had dinner
That's so
together.
But it was a
Cute.
blind date, but it was like I opened the door. I was like, oh my God, I just can't.
Just physically not attracted to him.
So not attractive. And now actually as a man, he's not bad looking.
The reason we know that is because we were on an airplane with him once.
Yeah,
weirdly.
we bumped into him on a
Yeah.
plane. Don't
That's
say
the
too
o-
much in case he's right. But he's not.
I don't think he
bad-looking
is,
as
but-
a man. But when I was young, yeah.
Was he the one with the big balls in the airport?
Ew, no,
Oh,
that
sorry.
was the guy when we were sitting there. That I know.
What are the big
no, he
balls in
was
the
on the
airport?
plane.
We were sitting at a gate in the airport, and this guy, like we met this family we were chatting with at our gate. We were delayed or something, and the dad had like he was wearing jeans.
He had
and
like elephantitis.
Yeah, that's like a thing where like his balls were huge, and we just like saw them through a street.
No, that wasn't him.
But that's the time we saw the guy you wanted to date with.
Correct. 100%.
Anyway,
Okay, back on topic.
Oh my God.
Should we play our red flag?
Yes.
game?
Right. We can
Or do
play
you have
a
any
game.
cues?
I love the cards. You guys are so cute.
Look how antiquated she is. What a
So,
weirdo.
what top 5 qualities are you looking for in a man now?
Oh, okay. Definitely communicative.
Ah,
Yeah, that's huge.
it's my favorite word.
But the thing is, and to take it a step deeper, it's just I need to understand what your communication style is, and you need to understand what mine is, and we need to come to a compromise. Because some people they might think that only talking once a day on a phone call for 5 minutes is enough, and maybe some people want to text every day. I just want to come to a compromise and be like, all right. So communication. I love intelligence, so just somebody who's incredibly witty, intelligent. that's
Banter.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I get that.
Driven would be another one. I love just because I feel like I'm a very out there person. I'm just constantly going for the next goal to crush. Like I would love somebody who's ambitious. Family oriented because I feel like I have a very small family, so I'd love to kind of integrate myself and be with someone has a bigger family. And humor is huge for me.
Huge.
So, huge.
Great. Top 5 are great.
I agree with
Thanks.
every single one of
Me too.
those.
Thanks.
Going back to the communication thing, I think it's interesting because when I think about communication, I think more about like if something's bothering you, where you want this to go. Like that's where my mind goes for
Yeah.
communication. But I like how you kind of went the route of like, what's like your day-to-day communication style? Like, do you want to be texting every second? Do you want to FaceTime? Like, I like how you kind of took the more like casual approach. This is me being psychotic. Like, you took the more casual approach, which I appreciate.
No, because I used to be crazy. Like with my ex, I had a lot of trust issues with him, so I wanted to constantly be talking to him. to
Probably
know
for a
what he
good
was
reason.
doing. Correct. But it still didn't help. He was still doing shady shit behind my back. But I just felt like I was always talking to him. And now that I have my own stuff going on, I don't want to talk to you all the time.
I don't want to talk all day either.
I don't want to be on my phone.
Yeah,
We
I'll
used to be on FaceTime for hours.
But you want to know what? That was with like, the wrong people in the sense where like
Yeah.
like the same thing you just said. Like
You're
something
monitoring.
like something subconsciously was like I need to continue to talk to this person to hold on to the relationship. And that's something like I learned like probably in the past few years where it's like the texting does not define
Your relationship.
your relationship. It doesn't define how much they like you or how it has nothing
and
to
it
do
doesn't
with
make
it.
sense because I have best friends who live states away that I've been best friends with since elementary school.
Mhm.
We'll talk maybe once every 3 weeks, once every 4
Yeah.
weeks. But when we talk, it's not like, are they talking shit about me behind my back? Do they still want to be my friend? Like, why, when it's romantic though, do
yeah,
we
it's
correlate
very
that?
true.
It's so
just-
true. My best friend lives
no.
in Israel and we probably talk like once every 2 weeks through like sending pictures to each other. But it's like, and that doesn't define our relationship. She's not any less of my best friend because she lives like across the world. Like it's
Yeah.
just, it's crazy when you're right. When it comes to relationships, like the whole dynamic changes that
Correct.
you feel like you need to hold on to it through communicating. But who wants to do that?
Both of you are very grown up, but it comes, but it comes
So
with,
mature.
But it comes with age and time.
It does.
It just does.
It does. It's
But
a
I also
learning
think
curve.
it came because we've like been through some shitty shit.
Right. Could be. And you learned from your shitty shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do you want more cues?
No, but we could play a little game.
Okay.
She's like, take your
So
flag.
we're gonna play a game of red flag or not because we're with the red flag queen. Here's
Ooh,
your little
I'm
flag.
excited.
If you're just listening and not watching, we
So
have
we'll
red.
just say
We
flag.
we have red flags
So
in our
cute.
hands. Okay, so some of these were submitted by followers. Some of them were just
Ooh.
things that I thought of, and some were just random. So if you think it's a red flag,
Flag.
wave your red
Flag.
flag.
All right.
Okay.
Ooh.
This one, I'm gonna start with a very random one. And this isn't really relevant to you because you're like a full blown like mother. But if their bed touches the wall on one side,
What?
my friend submitted this one.
Really?
Yeah.
What,
So you
No, like a
No.
guy of mine. guy friend of mine.
No, that's not a
what
red
do you
flag.
think to like trap somebody in the bed?
No,
Maybe
like
the
but
room
like
is small.
people
You guys
think
live
like
in the same-
this is a bad one to start with. People think like maturity is like you're mature and adult if like your bed's in the middle of the room.
But what if they have? I'm like, what if they have a weird room
Yeah, they
design?
live in a
or
s-
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a red flag.
I think it's funny.
Okay, yeah, it's funny,
That's
but
fine.
not a red
No
flag.
flags.
Okay. Bad relationship with parents.
I need context for these.
I
I'll say
know.
it's like a yellow flag. I would want to know
Why?
why and
Yeah.
what's going on. But I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
I
call it
would
a
agree.
red flag.
immediately.
'Cause you just
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
other
there could
side
be a
the
lot of
story. I agree.
complex phenomenon going on over there.
I agree. Doesn't have friends.
That's a red flag to me.
Flag.
I read that one because I knew we would think that. I wanted us to wait.
Yeah.
Red flag. Elaborate.
I think the relationships that you have with your friends just tell a lot about who you are.
Right.
So for you to not have any friends or have anything established or have anybody you could call a confidant, or it's just alarming to me, because what is it about you that you can't harness and
Mhm.
Connect with
grow
people.
these relationships? Yeah,
Great.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Just everything you said, I agree.
yeah.
They have their phone on the table on the first date.
Wait.
No.
No? The
Wait.
phone on the table?
I don't like phone.
No.
I don't like phone on the table.
Oh, that does sound a red flag to me. A red flag to me is they
If it's
don't-
face down on the table, well, okay. Is it face down, face up? Does that matter?
I don't think it matters. I just think, okay, maybe red flag is aggressive, but I'm someone, even when with my friends, and my friends know this about me, and I call them out on it all the time. Like, if I am sitting at a table with you, I understand if like work happens or something,
Yeah.
but if you're like,
You need to be present.
if you need to be present, and I
Yeah.
feel like if your phone is on the table, flip down, I'm actually more okay with, because you're not. Yeah, change my answer. If it's flipped down on the table, it doesn't bother me because you're not there looking at your phone, looking for the notifications. Maybe your jeans are too tight and probably can't fit in your pants.
yeah.
But like when your phone's up and like it flashes your notification, you're looking at it, like you're not fully present with me.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
this is taking an hour or two on a first date out of your day, like, and you cannot look at your phone. I say to my friends all the time, like if we're at dinner together, I know we're together all the time, but if like you're scrolling on Instagram, it's like you're with me. Like dedicate the time to be with me and we could scroll later.
Right. So
I agree
that's
with you.
different. But I was thinking more like when a guy just never leaves his phone, like brings it in the bathroom and, charges it next to his side because, there could be monkey business going on and he doesn't want you to see it.
The monkey
Yeah,
business.
yeah, I
love
agree.
that.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree. All of these,
Right,
yeah.
So a little flag.
Yeah.
A little flag.
Flag.
I was like heavy on the flag. Could have like been a little chiller. They shit talk every woman that's in their life.
Yeah, that's a massive red flag.
So cute on the camera.
This is going to be a GIF one day.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah, that's a red flag. Why just women, though?
What about if I change it to they shit talk their exes?
Yeah, oh my God, 1,000%.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're, this is what
Okay.
I believe.
We got you into it.
If you're on a date with someone, I don't know if necessarily the topic of exes it could come up. Like, how
I
long
think
have you been
only
single?
if it's relevant.
Yeah. But then if it's just like how long have you been single? Just to gauge, right?
Yeah.
Is this still going on? Like, what's the deal? But if then they're just like, oh, I've been single for 2 years, but my ex is crazy. She's a bitch. I would
Yeah.
just be like, I don't
Why?
even know you. Why are you dumping? And I
Right.
just think it's a reflection of, if you're going to talk about somebody to a stranger, right? Like,
Mhm.
what are you going to one day maybe say about me? Or
After the first date. Like
Yeah.
you're right.
Uh-huh.
and what is it about you that, again, everybody's crazy that
Right.
you've dated? No.
I
red
agree.
flag.
I agree.
Mm-mm-mm.
What about your friends and family don't like them?
Red flag.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they're a really good gauge.
I agree.
When you're
'Cause
blinded
'cause
by
you-
it.
You see, right? Because when you're in the relationship, you
Yeah.
don't really see anything.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then when you're out of it,
Yeah.
it takes time.
the third party perspective.
Correct.
1,000%.
I agree. They don't like to travel.
That would be a red flag for me, just because I love to travel,
Mhm.
but I think it depends on what your values
Yeah.
are.
Mine's a yellow flag if we
Yeah.
had one.
I would
I'm gonna
like.
go
I'd
with-
want like a
not really for me
destination
anymore.
wedding.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
see
love
you
to
don't love to
travel.
travel.
I like to go to
Um,
places.
They always correct you. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like
Depends.
that.
It's a little flag.
There's context that's needed for all of these. Just
Yeah.
more like the idea of someone.
Like, are they are they correcting my grammar or the way I say
No,
a
like
word?
not like correcting
like,
your
oh my-
grammar at all. Like I'm meaning more just like trying to adjust the way you're speaking about things or like the way you should tell a story. More just like your
Oh.
demeanor about things versus like you use the wrong your.
Yeah, I could never date somebody like that.
Yeah.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
They have a low sex drive.
Ooh. Yeah. So
don't-
for me,
Yeah. Let's hear it.
says the celibate queen over
Yeah.
here. Yeah, that's a problem for me. I like to express myself with sexual activity, so I
Mhm.
feel like that's one of my love languages is physical touch.
Yeah.
So
Ah,
yeah,
Yes.
are we twins?
I
don't
think
know.
so.
we're
All
gonna
right.
get so many dates after this.
Oh my God.
Like lining up.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know. That's just how I love. That's how I love to communicate and express my love. So
Mhm.
that would be a problem for me. But what's a low sex drive? Are we talking like once a month?
Mhm.
Or are we talking like once a week, once a day? I don't
Yeah,
know. But
I
right.
mean, what guys in their 20s and 30s have a low
It
sex
could be
drive?
an internal thing.
it could.
It's not like it's all like just a mental like horn dog thing. It'd be
Okay.
like
Is it not a red flag for you?
it's not a red flag
Yeah.
by any means, but it's like I wouldn't love it. Like I would want to change that about them, which
It's just-
probably is a red flag about me.
The only thing that sucks is it's like you have to consider, can you be with this person forever? Like if you see a future with this person,
Right.
you see a lot of relationships, people sometimes cheat or step out because the sex just isn't there or they're lacking. So
Right.
it's just how much you value it and are you willing to put up with it?
Maybe this is me being a little kooky, but like yes, like sex is very important to me in a relationship, but like in my mind, I'm like, oh, they have a low sex drive, like I could change that.
Oh, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. My finest lingerie.
Sorry, Dad.
Oh, poor Dave.
It's poor Dave.
What about when they're rude to other people?
Oh,
Yeah, I
my
hate that.
God.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like literally
Yeah, don't
horrible.
like that.
I think it's a red flag if about the person if you don't think that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Like it's horrible.
You know. No.
They won't let you hang out with your friends of the opposite sex.
Yeah, no, red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, can I throw like a dinger in here?
Ding it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's ding it up. So, how would you feel though if their best friend of the opposite sex, they've hooked up in the past or they dated?
Okay. Hooked up in the past, I think fine. Like, would I be happy about it? No. But like I have guy friends that I have like kissed in the past and they are truly just my
Platonic,
friends.
yeah.
Like just my friends. I love and adore them, but like that is that. Like it was like a drunk makeout. Like that's it. So I wouldn't mind that. I would definitely have an issue with it at first, but then I'd have to like snap myself at it and be like, I've had that. So let's chill.
Correct.
Dated, I think is a different situation. Like there's context that comes into it.
I would
How
need to
serious
know,
was it?
Yeah.
Like
how long?
right,
Were you younger?
what's your
Right.
communication style now? Are you texting every day or did you do a coffee every 6 months to catch up? Fine by me.
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, if they've hooked up, don't love it, but it's fine because I've had that situation. Dated, I would need way more context.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a green flag to me. I'd be
Yeah.
like, as long as there's boundaries,
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's fine. I'm good with it.
I agree.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. Like rather not,
I
but
agree.
yeah.
Not ideal.
Not paying on the first date.
Oh, that's a
I
red
think that's
flag.
a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Is that like old school of us though, or just like that's how it should be?
I think this is what I think.
Mhm.
If you're going to ask me on a date
Mhm.
and you're initiating it, you're planning it, you're picking the place, I'm assuming that you want to take me on a date. So
Yeah.
you're going to pay. Do I expect that if we were to get into a relationship all the time moving forward?
Yeah, no.
But I think on the first date, if you ask me,
What if you went up to them in a bar and you were like, we should go out sometime? And you really were the one to kick
if I
off that.
pushed it, but then was I the one who was like, we're going to meet at this bar at 6 p.m., then I'd probably
True.
offer to maybe, like, I'd take my card out.
Do you
But
do
you
the
wouldn't
girl
really
card
wanna
thing?
pay.
but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, I
But
get
who the
what
fuck
I-
wants to
yeah.
actually pay?
I'm sorry.
Who wants to pay? Never.
Yeah.
No, but when
On a
you're in
first date,
relationship, on
whoever-
a first date,
I just
no.
think whoever asks should do the paying. But
Yeah, I agree.
but then I also think if you're not feeling the date, I do offer to split it. Like that is
Really?
yeah, I always do that. That's just me because I feel
I always offer to split it, like
Yeah.
when you were in the initial like first date, second date stage.
yeah.
But I don't think I don't even remember even if I didn't like them. I don't think I was like, if I don't like you, you should definitely pay.
I think if they're sweet and I just am not feeling like a vibe, I'm like, I don't want to waste $60.
No, you're a
out of
better
your
person than me.
pocket. Aw,
Yeah,
okay.
you're a better person than
Thanks.
me.
I'll always split. I'll offer to split, but they don't always accept,
Right.
which is really nice.
Yeah,
Which is nice.
that
if
is
they don't
That
nice.
is.
accept.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a green flag of you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're a walking green flag. They watch porn regularly.
I think that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if it
doesn't
starts
bother
to
me.
impact, like if they don't have a sex drive because they're watching porn too much, that's a red flag to me.
Right.
That's
Yes.
borderline like porn addiction. and
Yeah.
I think that's
That's
a whole other animal.
definitely an
but
issue.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care
Yeah.
either. It's like,
Have fun.
do you have fun? Yeah, be a boy, be a man.
Tell me who's hot.
Yeah, yeah. This is one that's interesting, which I'll probably have to explain to you. And they don't save phone numbers. So like in the initial stages of dating, like some people don't like to save phone numbers and they're just like texting a bunch of numbers.
I could never.
I
You do
there
that?
yes. So when I was dating, I wouldn't save someone's phone number until I knew I liked them. until I was like confirmed this, like there's feels here. I'm going to save your number. So because right now, like I'm actually so glad I did that because I'd probably have like Bob, Hinge, like D first rounds on me. Sorry, that's my dad's name. That's weird. Just came into my mind. But like I wouldn't save numbers until I like it's nothing to do with them. It was like until I was like, I want to continue talking and seeing this person.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't save my number, save it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're done, they're deleted.
I don't have their number. So it just kind of sits there and
No,
then
no. But even if you're dating somebody for a while and they piss you off,
if they're actually a huge dick, I don't even want to like see their contact. So then I delete them.
I block. I'm a blocker.
I'm a team blocker too. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
It's funny because my best friend Lauren, she just got into a relationship too, and was the same as me with like the saving the numbers. Like we both just didn't save numbers, and when we saw on our phones that we saved a number, we'd be like, "Ooh, like you like
it's getting
it?"
serious.
So she was her now boyfriend, he knew about the whole like not saving number thing. Was he the one who submitted that one? I don't think so. I don't know. But they were like definitely like getting really serious. And he saw like she like still didn't save his number. And he was like, Lauren, like, can you save my number? Like we're literally exclusive. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's so cute. But it was funny when like we had our phone numbers and I would like look at her phone and see she saved his number. I'd be like, ooh.
Progress.
So this is like in regards like around a first date or when you first start dating someone. They never make set plans and they only text you when they're out of work. So more like they're just just like, oh, I'll let you know later.
The set plans.
The set plans is a red flag to me.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just because I feel like you're not conscious or cognizant of my schedule. You don't care about my time.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Agree. I don't like that either.
The second part, they don't text you till after work. That's not a red flag.
Yeah, that I'm like, whatever.
Well, no. It was meant to be mushed into one, I think, where it's like they're never making a set plan because they're like, oh, I'm going to be at work. I'll text you when I'm out.
Well,
we could separate it.
If it's separated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're waiting until marriage.
Oh.
They're waiting to have sex until marriage.
I don't know. I don't even.
That's a red flag to me. Not in the sense of like they're doing something wrong. It's more so because I don't think like a red flag is always like what someone else is doing wrong. I think it has to do with like what you believe in and your values.
Yeah, it is.
And like I said, sex is very important to me in a relationship. So I wouldn't want to marry someone.
Yeah,
who,
I honestly, for me, that's a red flag. But for others, like especially if religion is in play, like go for it. But for me,
be religious for sure. Not right.
For religious reasons, but otherwise.
Right, but regardless, like there's no wrong or right if like you wanted to stay for marriage, like sick, have fun, do that. But like in my eyes, I'm like
because also I just think, what if I'm not compatible? What if we're not compatible?
Right.
And I just committed to you.
I don't also want to be however age I'm going to be when I get married and taking someone's virginity.
There's power in that.
Depends on the route you go for sure. Okay, we have to wrap. Susan, let me do phone on the table. Oh, get super jealous.
Yeah, that's a red flag for me. It comes with control, possessiveness.
Yeah.
I just know.
Right, because you think they're really into you, that they're so jealous, but it's really like
it's manipulation.
Yeah,
spookies in their head.
Manipulation and spookies. Who's the professor here? Okay, let's. T-shirt. Yeah, literally. Let's end. I want to end. I want to be controversial. Okay, this one might be controversial. Maybe not.
You could do this with your class.
They're a homebody and don't really like to like go out, be social, and not go out in a sense where like you're going to a bar getting wasted.
It's like a 2 point.
This one's a yellow flag for me. I know we didn't bring yellow flags, but I'm someone who's a homebody in the sense where like I love my alone time. I like to be home, order in, like feel all good and sexy, and would love to do that with a partner. But I also think it's so important to bring a relationship
out of your bubble,
and like being with other people versus like being stuck in an apartment setting.
Well, that's what it is. If you think it's a guy who just wants to keep you to himself and whatever, then that could be a red flag. But if he's just like, I'm a homebody now.
Right.
But for no other reason than
you just want to eat your chicken parm on your table.
Correct.
Valid. Okay, this was so fun.
I loved this.
You're wonderful.
So wonderful.
Oh,
wonderful. I just took your word. I always like to end by asking our guests just a little piece of advice or, tip you've heard that you can share when it comes to dating that, helped you kind of get to where you were.
Yeah. I think something that is really important to me right now is just embracing all of who I am. So I think for so long I struggled with thinking I was beautiful because I didn't look like X, Y, or Z. And it was just this crazy thing. I was my biggest bully. And then I went into dating just hoping somebody would heal that part of me. So
Right.
I think you have to like really look at yourself in the mirror every morning. And I do this every morning. And I'm like, you have a beautiful smile. You have a beautiful face.
You talk
Like,
to yourself in the mirror?
I do this every morning.
It's funny because I would like to
Yeah.
think I'm very confident and I try to do that and it's weird.
It's hard. And I'll do it when I'm naked, girl.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not like Kim Kardashian over here. Like, I got a little
No,
kangaroo
you look
pouch.
good.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
But so I say this on another podcast, but I'll be like, so I got curves, like I'm a little thicker, but I'm just like, you little sexy Renaissance painting. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just talk to myself. I swear to God. So
I
just
live for that.
yeah. So I just feel like you really need to just embrace all of who you are because there's somebody out there who's going to be like, you are the most gorgeous person I've ever seen. And you have to feel that way yourself. So
So true.
I just,
Self-love.
Mhm.
and it's hard. Like it's
Yeah.
hard, but just do it. So just talk to yourself with kindness. And then if you don't though, don't expect going out into the dating world is going to heal your problems and make you feel like you are enough. So you have to start with you first.
I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. Getting butt naked, standing in front of my
hot.
mirror
It's really
and
it's
saying
fun.
my curves are sexy.
Yes. Oh,
Period.
I love that. You better DM me after.
I will. I'll let you know. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Where
having
can
me.
people find you?
Yeah.
Where can they purchase your amazing book?
Thanks. So you can find me on social at the Brianna McCabe, the book, The
Easy,
Red
easy.
Flags. Yeah, super easy. The Red Flags Repeatedly Ignored. It's available on my website, thebriannamccabe.com or Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.
Oh my God, you're there. You're everywhere.
I'm there. I'm splattered in your face.
Okay, I can't wait to see your Green Flags book that we're
Yes,
going to
we
pressure
need it.
you to write now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Thanks for having
Yes.
me.
Of course.
This was
Yay.
great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thanks.
Oh my God, you're fabulous.
Thank
really
you.
are.
Really